I am a farmer. 16 years ago, my wife and I began milking literally one cow on a rented farm about less than a kilometer from here. We took that milk into our home kitchen and we began making cheese. And as they say, the rest is history. Many of you here have been to our farm. Many of you have eaten our cheese, and if so, thank you. It has been a community project. Our success in these years is very much tied to your involvement and the involvement of our larger community. It's interesting as we talk about innovation that often we link, or we think of, we like to promote the breakthrough technologies, the overnight successes. I'm here to tell you that in many sectors, probably in most sectors, it takes 16 years of hard work to become an overnight success. That has been our experience. But it has been gratifying work, it has been rewarding, and now we're at the phase where we're looking at a legacy in our, and going to another generation in our family, but also in the community, as people, and a whole new generation of people are joining us in this project that we have. Innovative, values-driven innovation. That title assumes two things. First of all, it assumes that, and I dare say it at an innovation conference, not all innovation is good. Think obviously of innovation in chemical warfare. I woke up this morning and heard on the news that the largest cyber attack in history globally has happened last night, today. Innovation in cyber attacks. Maybe a more mundane example, believe it or not, a food services company whose name shall not be, which will go without mention, spent thousands and thousands of dollars, valuable scientists' mind. They were trying to innovate on the idea of cheese. I'm a cheesemaker. Lots of efforts, and they came up with the fabulous idea of cheese whiz. Not all innovation is positive. The other assumption that I base this on is that not all values are equally good. Now, I'm not going to get into a judgment game over whose values are better than other values, and in conservative Canadian politics these days, there's the discussion about what are Canadian values. I'm not going to go there. But I do want to say that we need to seriously consider our values. We need to have them thought through and enunciated, because based on those values, we are building something. We were building a business, we're building a family, we're building a life. And if our values are not right, where does that lead us? We add innovation to that building process. We build it faster, we build it more effectively, we build it bigger. And wouldn't it be a shame, isn't it a shame, maybe one of life's greater tragedies is to find out that you've built the wrong thing, or you've climbed the ladder of success, it's leaning against the wrong wall. We all have values, and we need to make sure that they are explicitly our own and not just something that we stumble on and adopt from society around us. So values-driven innovation. On our farm, we have based the idea of values, of building values, around a single word, that is habitat. What does habitat mean to you? It's an old-fashioned word. It's where we are born, reproduce, and die. where we're from. It's where we work and recreate, where we worship and party, where we get our food from, where our waste goes to, where for complex and mobile creatures like ourselves, it's probably well described in interlinking spheres of activity, but it encompasses where we do all of our lives, all the different aspects of our lives. Think about any one of those spheres, your home. You are not most likely alone in your home. Your workplace, you are not alone in your workplace. And so habitat almost always demands shared habitat. Whether you are a globe-trotting human or a tree, you have a habitat equally, and that habitat is shared. That's a creature-centric view of habitat. One of our main assets, in fact our main asset as a business, is a 90-acre static spot. It's got definition from the survey company. It's got a street address. It's got, in lots of cases, some fences around it. So look at habitat then from that reverse perspective as a spot, a static place. And again, you come to the immediate conclusion that it is shared habitat. Who would share the 90 acres that is our farm? We have people, obviously. My family lives there. We had the 4 generations, a 5th generation would come and visit us in the evenings. We have staff, people that work there 80 hours a day, or 8 hours a day, and we're going to come back to them. We have the guests that come and visit us. The people that buy our cheese in Vancouver or Victoria, that we provide food into their habitats. We have creatures, great and small. We have farm animals. We're a dairy farm, and so we have all the menagerie of cows, and we have chickens, we have ducks, we have tiny, what are they called? Miniature donkeys. Why? Wild animals. We have raccoons and deer that go through, bear that come by. We actually had an elk one time. We have Morningstar Creek goes through our farm, so we've got the cutthroat trout and the mink and the duck. Insects. We have, the wonderful thing about putting cows on pasture is they poop there. And, you know, what happens, flies will accommodate. We have more insects, more flies, and therefore more swallows and birds than you will see anywhere, I guarantee you, anywhere else in town. Did you know that in 1 cubic meter of soil, of healthy soil, there are more critters alive and working on our behalf, aerating, breaking down the organic matter, working on our behalf than there are people on the globe, just in that 1 cubic meter. So we share our 90-acre habitat with a vast array of creatures. The rub in a shared habitat is that you, as I think the Stones put it well, don't always get what you want. Shared habitat means sacrifices, and it means compromise. We're a dairy farm. The cows are the queens. They get what they want, except that we have fences around the creek so that the cows can't go get water in the creek whenever they want, because if they did, they would destroy the fish habitat. We have people coming to our farm all 363 days a year. It's a fabulous thing. We love it. They have a rich farm experience, as rich as they want to make it. And we don't support Little League Baseball. We don't support the Women's Auxiliary or the Rotary Club, or show movies downtown on the lawn. Those are really good things for businesses to do. We, in fact, instead share our habitats. We have people coming all the time. But if you come, you don't get everything that you want. You have to stay away from, at least give them some respect, the cows. Because you don't want to be scaring the cows, and because cows are big animals. You don't get to go into the cheese plant. You can look it through the window, but the health department would not allow you to go into the cheese plant. We have hours that we're open, and so you're most welcome to come in the hours when you're open. You're not at all welcome, actually, sorry, when we're closed, because our family also has to share that environment, and we need some downtime. Shared habitat requires compromise. The question then becomes, can you get what you need? If we had okay, my clicker is not working. There we go. If we had a value statement, it would be sharing habitat to promote the well-being of all. How can we give everyone that shares this 90 acres a habitat that is to the maximum benefit for them? Sharing habitat to the well-being of all. I'm going to give 3 examples of how we have been able to innovate, and ours are technological innovations, principally that I'm looking at, because they're the sort of fun things and the sexy things that we've been able to do. But they are 3 ways that we have been able to innovate based on this value of sharing habitat to the maximum well-being of all. The first is for the staff there are 30 of us that work on the farm, more or less, goes up and down, mostly according to the season. 8 hours a day is a big chunk of your habitat, especially because that 8 hours a day also pays for the rest of the time that you're not there. So for us, employee care, staff care, is a super high priority. I have this memory of my wife in our early days, bent over the cheese vat, so it's sticking into her gut, and she's kneading cheese curd. And it's deeply in my brain, partly because she has a cute butt, and so I got to see that, but mostly because it represents the back-breaking labor that she did. We burned out cheesemakers. It's hard. Artisan cheesemaking is hard work. And so we began to ask ourselves, how can we sustain this? How can we continue to make cheese, continue to make artisan cheese in a way that sustains? If we could go to the next slide, please. And this is what we found. This is unique in Canada, we believe. It is an elevator vat. And so you've got the cheese curd, the milk in there, and voila. It goes up in the air. There's no more bending down. There's no more cutting. It goes up in the air. And who would have thought gravity was innovative? But it is. And so now they're working at waist height, filling cheese. That's cheese and whey, by the way, of Little Miss Muffet fame. And And voila, the job is done. It's empty. No more bucketing, no more hurt back. Innovation based on shared habitat. How can we promote our staff care in that case? Second example, animal welfare. We have a responsibility to the wildlife in our area as owners of 90 acres, but it's a second level responsibility. We do not care for the wildlife. We provide them access, we provide them forest breezeways, etc., clean water. But we have a primary, a principal commitment to the farm animals on our farm because they rely on us. They are, we control their lives. When you think about values and the idea that all values are not equal and that they are not all equally good. Profit is one that is often confused as a value. Profit should not be, I would argue, a value. Profit is a tool. Businesses need to earn a profit to be sustainable. They need to, only government, it seems, in this day and age can run deficits years on end. But businesses do not exist to make a profit. Businesses exist to provide either a service to the community that they're willing to pay for, or a widget to the community, a food stuff to the community that the community is willing to pay for. Business exists to offer something in return for money, and that profit is sustainability. It's a tool. Farming is very susceptible, all business is susceptible to that getting reversed on its head, and profit becomes the value that we're seeking. Slavery is a profit-driven business. Bank robbery is a profit-driven business. There's lots of gray areas, and animal farming is one of them, that if your value is profit, you're going to cut corners on farm animal care. And who's there to speak on behalf of the animals? SPCA has done this thing called 5 Freedoms. And this is an attempt to speak on behalf of farm animals. They are representing what farm animals should experience on a farm. Any domestic cared for animal should experience.
2 minutes.
And that's been really important to us. So we, a few years ago, we were the first SPCA certified farm in British Columbia because of our animal welfare, and that was because of our animal welfare standards. We a few years ago needed to build a barn, and I would like to introduce you just briefly to that barn. So here we have 50 cows, bright sunny barn, sunshine comes in, air blows through, cows are well fed, they lie on nice clean sand, there's a beach, there's the maternity pen, and the calf that was just born, all clean, and they're relaxed together. The pièce de résistance, though, in our new barn, in the environment, the habitat that they share, is what we affectionately call the robot. It's actually called a voluntary milking system because it's completely and 100% voluntary. And the cows will line up 24 hours a day to go in and get milk. It's a much more natural process. A calf on cow will milk multiple times a day. The robot milks multiple. It cleans her up, it hooks her up, it actually tests the milk so that you who share this habitat also have a chance to can be assured that your milk is of high. And voila. Sweet. And again, it is completely voluntary. The cows love it. You watch as she walks out, there's going to be another cow. You can already see the other cow's nose, I think, there. Oh, on. Again, values-driven innovation. Values-driven innovation. The third example that we're going to look at is, okay, now if we could pause this one just briefly. Of course, shared habitat means on the largest scale, we all share the environment together. And we uniquely have 90 acres of that environment to care for. How do we do that, maximize that? Two things. The first is grass. There are books written about how permanent pasture will save the world. Every time grass grows up, roots grow down. Quick note, every time it gets harvested or chewed, eaten, those roots die back to give the new growth energy to grow up again. So there's this pulsation that happens 4 or 5 times a year. And guess what? Carbon from the atmosphere, photosynthesis, you guys all got this in high school, and grows roots. And those roots die back. Where does that carbon stay? In the ground. And so permanent pasture locks carbon in the ground. There's too much carbon in the atmosphere. There's too much carbon in the oceans. Carbon improves the ground. It gets better and better. And so we are a farm that uses permanent pasture. And that was meant to do that. The other innovative thing that we're doing is still in the box. It is literally still in the box. Come to our farm in a month's time. This is a milk vending machine. We are going to be able to sell you milk. You bring your jar or your jug. In the old days, we used to use pickle jars. You bring your Tupperware container, you put it inside the milk vending machine, you put a couple coins in, and then you walk home with your jug of milk. Cream top milk, low temperature pasteurized milk. Stick it into the eye of the plastic producers around the world. And it's just another little fun thing that we are doing on the farm. Values-driven innovation. Innovation can be good. But it doesn't need to be. I strongly exhort you, just in leaving, to assess, to enunciate, and to develop what your values are. Let those values drive what you are building, and then ramp it up with innovation. Thank you.